Welcome to my screencast. Everyone can benefit from technology in the classroom. Before I begin, I wanted to give you a brief introduction about myself, my students, and my classroom. I am a special education teacher in a 612 classroom with 6 wonderful students who have severe autism. They generally need a great deal of adult support and a very modified curriculum. On a typical day, they focus in on work skills, life skills, and social skills. Knowing this about my students, I think you'll better understand my multimedia project. My project was to create a classroom website, and within this website, I wanted to create social stories that were pertinent to my current students. I also researched iPad and iPod applications that were free or low cost, or very highly recommended for the autistic population. I also wanted to provide parents with local resources within the capital region. I wanted to recommend helpful books about autism for siblings, peers, classmates, and parents. And I wanted to do that on a monthly basis, and you'll see that in my website. I also wanted to enhance communication between parents and myself. And being April, Autism Awareness Month, I wanted to raise awareness about autism. My audience was a mixed bag. The social stories, I wanted to focus in on my students and their needs. And pretty much everything else on my website was there to support parents and siblings. But I feel like everything on my website, other educators can use and have used in my school actually, resources, the social stories, and the links that I've provided. So from there, I wanted to show you my website that I've created. So here is my homepage, Miss Katrina's Classroom. And to greet everyone, I wanted to start off with a blabberize. So we can watch that right now together.
Welcome to my site. For those of you who don't know me, I'm known as Miss Katrina. I'm a special education teacher for children with autism. I created this website to help inform parents, teachers, siblings, and classmates about autism. I've included many resources that I find informative and reliable. I've also added some of my classroom creations that I invite all of you to use. Thanks for stopping by.
I wanted to use blabberize because I thought it was a fun way to introduce both parents, siblings, and my own students to my website. And at the bottom, I did a little shout out for Autism Awareness Month, and I made a link to the Donate for the Autism Society, where their goal is to increase awareness and change how people with autism are treated. So the contributions are greatly appreciated. I know that I see the impact of their society every day. So the next link I have is what is autism, and this is just general information about autism. So there's the symptoms of autism, the diagnostic classifications of autism, the causes and the facts and stats, and this is just an overview. And I've also included a really great YouTube video that you can check out later about autism. It's a little lengthy, it's 5 minutes long, but it really sums up what autism spectrum disorder is. Before jumping over to social stories, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. Smith and Robinson explained using technology to create social stories with digital pictures and sound was extremely successful in engaging targeted students in appropriate communication, interaction, and management of the environment. So going off the research in this article, I wanted to create social stories for my students. And this is something that I see as an ongoing thing. I want to continuously make new social stories for my students to improve their behaviors and increase their social skills. The first video here is just a video answering the questions, what are social stories and how they can help students with autism. I made 3 social stories so far, one about keeping markers in school and not stealing school markers, one about being angry, and another about picking your nose. So I think we'll briefly watch one. The picking your nose one we'll start by watching.
Picking my nose is gross. I will not pick my nose. Picking my nose is gross. I can spread germs by picking my nose. Sometimes my nose is itchy. It is okay to scratch the outside of my nose. Sometimes my nose gets runny. I will use a tissue. This will make all my teachers proud.
So that's the format of a social story, and they're all pretty much said in the same way with the same repetitions. And they've been very successful so far in my classroom, and I've started showing my students these social stories, and they seem very engaged watching them. I made them using clip art from a clip art disc, as well as PowerPoint, and then I use Screencast to make them onto YouTube. So that is really the biggest part of my multimedia project was to create those social stories. The second biggest part was researching iPad and iPod applications. A lot of my students do use assistive technology such as Dynavox or one student does have an iPad, and so I just really wanted to research what apps are available for these students, what ones are recommended, which ones cost money, and which ones are free. I also included an audio book, which we can listen to right now.
Are you aware of all the great apps out there for your children with autism? These apps can be a tremendous help to you and your child. Apps can focus in on a wide variety of skills from literacy, social skills, to speech, and much more. Some cost money, but many are free or are very inexpensive. Here are a list of apps for you to browse.
So I've kind of broken down these apps into a variety of categories. Here are some apps for communication, and some are very expensive, but this is meant to take the place of a Dynavox, which is a $1,000 or more device. It's very expensive. So the cost of less than $200 is relatively inexpensive compared to what it's taking the place of. But some of these apps are low cost or free. So there was communication, there was literacy, organization and study skills, social skills, learning how to make eye contact or sequencing of events. There are some sensory apps. Here's a bubble wrap popping one where it simulates the bubble wrap, and that's a free app. There's apps for specific learning, such as knowing what clothes to wear for the weather or counting bills and coins, math skills, and this Kids Calc is pretty cool. It gives you a visual representation of each number. So if you put 8 plus 3, it'll show you 8 sheep plus 3 sheep equals 11, and it'll show you 11 sheep at the bottom. So that was a pretty cool one for visual learners. And these don't necessarily have to be used with children with autism. It's just sites that I thought would benefit my students and the population I work with. The next tab up here is support groups, and these are the support groups I found that really serve the greater capital region. There's the Albany Autism Society and the Hudson Valley Autism Society, and also Autism Speaks. And it gives a little brief synopsis of what they are and the upcoming event in the area, which is Ride for Autism, which is May 21st. And I see myself putting more events, school-wide events, more autism awareness events right into here where parents can easily go in, see what's going on. I know that the Regal Cinemas around here in Albany show autism-friendly movies where the lights are still on and the sound is lower and it's more sensory friendly. So I plan on putting more events here as they come up. The next link up here is my book corner, and this is where I was saying earlier I wanted to really put in each month a book to recommend to parents, siblings, or classmates, something that I find. I'm always reading and trying to find more information about autism, and how to educate others about autism and how to educate my students with autism. So I'm constantly out there looking for great books. So this is the book I read recently that I would definitely recommend for everybody. It's a Japanese comic book, which I don't typically enjoy anime and that sort of thing. But this book really captured the essence of autism and how difficult slash rewarding it can be having a child with autism. So if you're looking for a good book to read over spring break, you could check this out. It's the first of first of 7 books in the series. And to increase my communication with the parents, I made this tab, the Contact Me, where they can send me a quick email. They can recommend a book to me. They could ask me to create a social story for their son or daughter. So it's just my way of reaching out there, being a little more available for the parents of my students. So that pretty much sums up my website. I know there's a lot of information in here, so please feel free to go back, see what's in there, look around, poke around, watch other YouTube videos that I've put up on here. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. So the standards that I think I've really touched upon are 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the second standard for teachers is to design and develop digital age learning experiences and assessments. And even though my students have severe disabilities, my students are still motivated by technology. As I said earlier, they really were engaged in the social stories that I created. It is my hopes that students will benefit a great deal by seeing and hearing the social stories on the computer, and that they can make significant gains with these social stories. 3, model digital age work and learning. I did communicate relevant information and ideas effectively to students, parents, and peers using a variety of Web 2.0 tools. Number 4, promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility. By creating a website that my students and I will be accessing throughout the school day, I will model and teach safe use of digital information and technology, and perhaps maybe even make a social story about that. What websites are safe to use, what websites are not safe, which ones are acceptable to view in school, etc. So that might be another area that I'd create a social story for. And the 5th one was engage in professional growth and leadership. I've shared my social stories with colleagues and other professionals through giving out my website's link. I've also shared some of my social stories on social networking sites such as Facebook to other professionals that I know. These are a list of Web 2.0 tools that I used: Weebly, Audioboo, Screencast-O-Matic, YouTube, and Blabberize. And these are the resources. The first is the standards, and the second is the article that I quoted earlier about social skills. So I hope you enjoyed my multimedia project, and I hope to hear from you soon.